Hello, hello. Rail, rail.
Hi there, this is Marika from Auckland, Channel 1, standing by for stand-up. Yeah. Yes. Oh, great, thank you so much. Okay. Perfect, thank you. I mean, it was supposed to be at 11, but I think it's already 5 past. So standing by. Thank you. Okay, bye.
The Alternative Commentary Collective, Ben.
Kia ora, kia ora. So, yeah, if you could, and it's called CRL. And is it actually your story? Yeah. And it's under
G'day,
Coral.
mate. Are you getting some nice colour and... Oh, is that light in the way?
Oh, okay. Okay, excuse me.
Bro, it's fucking crisp as fuck. Apparently we're doing a walk around afterwards, but you're getting everything? Getting sound, getting... You're getting sound and everything?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
How are you? Good morning. So do you want to join us? Sure. Maybe Dean. Dean want to join us as well? Or Peter and Dean can join us. Okay. So if I need questions answered, I'll put it to you. Or do Peter.
Yeah, and then we might pull in Stacey and others as required.
Yeah.
It just depends on...
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm okay, you're okay.
Very good. How is everyone? Thanks for making the effort to be here. Right, is everyone ready to go? All good? Excellent. Well, good morning everyone. It's great to be here with you all. Thank you for coming to Mount Eden train station, one of the 4 stations being delivered as part of the Auckland City Rail Link project. and it's great to be here with the acting Mayor of Auckland, Desley Simpson, as well as staff from Kiwi Rail and Auckland Transport. We've got Dean Kimpton, CEO of Auckland Transport, we've got CEO of CRL and the CEO of Kiwi Rail. It's great to have you all here. Thank you for being here. Many Aucklanders rely on our rail network every day to get to work, school and beyond, and they deserve a reliable, fast and safe journey, which is why the previous national government initiated the City Rail Link project to transform Auckland's public transport network. When it opens in 2026, this project will double the capacity of our rail network, reduce congestion and increase reliability for all Auckland commuters. To ensure the success of the City Rail Link, the rail network rebuild needs to be completed ahead of its opening. This will allow Aucklanders to experience faster, more frequent and more reliable services from day one. Additional work is required to complete the rebuild to reduce further disruption to commuters, and that's why our government has fully funded the rail network rebuild. Over the next year, Kiwi Rail, Auckland Transport and Auckland One Rail have coordinated to deliver an extensive schedule of upgrades. This will, however, include up to 96 days of full network closures across the city between this Christmas and January 2026. While disruptive, this approach is essential for us to realise the substantial benefits the City Rail Link will bring on opening day. The scope of works includes critical upgrades across the network, such as enhancing tunnels, points equipment, retaining walls, replacing culverts, strengthening bridges and improving drainage infrastructure. Kiwi Rail will also focus on removing temporary speed restrictions to ensure a faster, more reliable service for Auckland. I've set clear expectations for Kiwi Rail to minimise these disruptions as much as possible. They will be working around the clock, making use of every available hour during closures to keep progress on track. While we understand the impact this will have on public transport users and freight, this is a targeted approach, focusing the efforts around Christmas, the Christmas break, Easter, long weekends, and while keeping the trains moving during those term times and for workers going to work. This is critically important to help complete the rail network prior to the City Rail Link opening, rather than those works happening afterwards. I think Aucklanders are feeling a sense of frustration with the constant delays. However, this work must happen prior to the City Rail Link opening. We cannot have it happening afterwards, and Aucklanders won't tolerate that. Auckland is in a state of transformation. The CRL is a significant investment in our transport network. It is going to bring huge benefits, and it's critically important we get this work done and get it done right. So I'm now going to pass over to the Acting Mayor of Auckland, Desley Simpson, to discuss the plans Auckland Transport has in place to manage these disruptions.
Thank you, Minister. I want to thank you also for your additional financial support that set the CRL up for success. Our rail infrastructure, much of which hasn't seen major maintenance in decades, is causing frequent disruptions that undermine the benefits of the CRL. Preparing for a surge of passengers in 2026 will require a full network upgrade. Not just outfitting new stations, but also integrating, testing and commissioning new systems across the entire network. Completing the upgrades ahead of the CRL opening is critical to ensuring Aucklanders receive maximum value from this transformative project. The CRL is set to fundamentally reshape transport in Auckland, and for it to effectively operate from day one, disruption in train schedules is unfortunately necessary. This includes a full network upgrade, from rebuilding ageing foundations to integrating the new stations, fully leveraging the benefits of this substantial investment. Kiwi Rail and Auckland Transport have collaborated to keep disruption as minimal as possible, prioritising weekday peak services so that people can continue their regular routines during the week. This approach means that we will see rail closures during major holidays, weekends and late evenings. I want to thank Kiwi Rail, Auckland Transport and Auckland One Rail for developing a plan to manage these extensive closures, particularly during public and school holiday periods when we know patronage is lower. This strategy includes extending closures over these periods to maximise efficiency and minimise commuter impact. Full closures are a cost-effective measure, reducing delivery costs by around 30%, and they provide commuters with greater clarity on whether a line is open or closed. It is essential that Kiwi Rail and Auckland Transport continue to work efficiently on these upgrades, reducing disruption where possible and communicating clearly and in advance about alternative options. I understand the inconvenience these closures will cause for Auckland's train users and Kiwi Rail's freight customers. However, the temporary disruptions are necessary to develop a significantly improved rail network that Aucklanders can take pride in. Finally, it is the expectation of Council, and I'm sure all Aucklanders, that both Auckland Transport and Kiwi Rail engage early, engage often, explain the scale of what's happening, why disruptions are necessary, how people will get to their destinations using alternative public transport routes, and deliver on time. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Desley, and thank you everyone for being here. We're happy to take any questions. So we're allocating $159 million in the budget to complete the rail network rebuild, and also another $50 million on top of that to support further backlog investment as well. So it's over $200 million we're allocating to this project to get the rail network rebuild completed, and that's critically important. Obviously there's been money allocated in previous budgets as well, but the point here is we need to get it finished, and we need to get it finished before CRL opens.
Will there be support for businesses that might be impacted this particular busy season?
Yeah, look, I mean, the impact on freight customers is going to be one of the impacts. I can get Peter. Do you want to speak to the impact on freight customers and what you're doing to support them?
Thank you, Minister. Following the announcement today and all the work that we've been doing with AT and CRL, we've been assessing the impact with freight. Remembering that a significant amount of freight leaves Auckland, goes to Christchurch within 24 hours. We've done significant modelling. We're working with customers. As of today, we'll have deep conversations with the customers to look at the truck movements. We have a plan. We understand the elements of in Auckland in January that will be closed, but we're also running train services, for example, from the port through to Southdown. So we've been doing some modelling, working with customers, looking at the truck movements. We have a clear plan as to how we'd keep that freight flowing for the freight customers in Auckland.
So this rebuild will be complete by the end of January 2026. In terms of the opening date of CRL, it'll be after that date, but that date has not yet been confirmed. Practical completion is on time for November 25. But obviously we are entering, I think, what is going to be one of the most complex phases of the City Rail Link, which is the commissioning of it. So yes, the construction, as you can see around here, is coming to a completion. The fit-out is well underway. The commissioning of the trains and the testing of all of the systems is going to be one of the most critical elements going forward. And so that work will be happening concurrently with this rebuild. Oh, look, I don't have a time frame, and I don't think we're putting a time frame to that at this stage. But ultimately, we're very committed to making sure this rebuild is completed ahead of the City Rail Link opening, because I think Auckland commuters won't tolerate having blocks of line closures for long periods of time once the CRL is completed. They have had, and some people call it, rail fatigue. We are in a state of transformation. We're moving to see the benefit. We need to see the benefits of that investment, and so now is the time to get this work done. That's what we're very focused on.
And can you guarantee that Auckland's obviously dealt with a lot of rail fatigue? Is this going to be the last push for Aucklanders?
Absolutely. This is the one last push to make sure we get this done and get it completed. And an example would be on the Eastern Line in Desley, Simpson's part of Auckland. Obviously, it's been rebuilt through there, but the previous funding didn't allow for the rebuild of the work around the tunnel. So that's going to be completed now this time as well. So I've been very clear about my expectations. Do it once, do it right. Get in, get it finished. And that's why I want it to be done as efficiently as possible, and that's why we've gone for blocks of lines, and so we can minimise the disruption on the travelling public as we lead into the City Rail Link being opened.
Building on that, will there be any additional support
Yes. Yeah, look, Auckland Transport has developed a comprehensive plan around making sure that when those blocks of line closures are in place, there will be alternatives. I'm going to ask Stacey to speak to that. And also a very key focus around large events as well, because there's a lot of large events that we want to make sure we can continue to get people to and from those events using public transport. I'll ask Stacey just to say a few words.
Yeah, absolutely. We will have a comprehensive bus replacement strategy that will include the likes of prioritised services through the network as well. Special events are obviously going to be challenging for us, so we're working with our stakeholders to try and mitigate that as much as possible. But the reality is we need to make these decisions in order to be able to move forth with the City Rail link when it does open. So it will be a comprehensive offering. This is why we've prioritised having those blocks during the school holidays, because then we have the school bus fleet available to deploy across the network.
That's right.
It gives us that extra capacity to be able to do this.
Well, Auckland's in a state of transformation. The City Rail link, which was started under the last National Government, is going to transform Auckland and transform public transport choices in the city. I think twice as many people will be within 30 minutes, of the city through the rail network. It's going to be transformational for our city, and this is one last push as we get ready for that. But look, I acknowledge the concerns and the frustrations of Aucklanders, and that's why we've focused and we've worked very closely with all of the different parties involved to make sure this is done as efficiently as possible, with the least disruption, and getting blocks of line done at times when the rail patronage is lower, so we can minimise those disruptions. So this is a very focused and targeted package, but we are very committed now to making sure that when CRL opens, it is successful, and that Aucklanders can benefit from the billions and billions of dollars of investment that's gone into our city.
Can you talk, you've sort of spoken generally about disruptions. Can you be a bit more specific? What lines, or is this network wide?
So in terms of the specific disruptions, so there will be 4 weeks of full closures over Christmas 24 and 25 compared to the usual 2 to 3 weeks. There'll be a 16-day full closure around Easter of the full rail network. Yes, there'll be 4-day public holiday weekends, so long weekends will be utilised as well for some full closures. There'll be short periods of single lines running where trains can only use one track instead of 2, and the trains will still be running but at reduced frequency. So that'll be about prioritising those commuters in peak times to make sure that works as well. So look, the impact is significant. There's attached to the press release we've released a full timetable calendar over the next 14 months as to what's happening when, and the point of today is being incredibly clear with Aucklanders about what impact is happening to what lines at what periods of time, so they can plan around that.
So the longest single block in the mentioned with these 4 weeks.
Yes. So that's the Christmas period going into late January, and those are obviously the biggest impact. Again, it's timed around the Christmas New Year break, when there's less patronage, but also the roads aren't as busy. So we've been very deliberate. All the decisions been made have been very deliberate to minimise disruption, but at the same time we acknowledge there is disruption, and that's why Auckland Transport's looking at the alternatives for public transport utilisation. Focusing around those school holiday breaks as well means that there's the fleet of the school buses which aren't being utilised and drivers available, so that we're able to provide those options for Aucklanders when those lines are being disrupted.
Are you prepared to provide support to CBD businesses that this is kind of the season they've been looking forward to make a recovery in this living crisis?
Yeah, look, I think the thing is there has been support to some of those businesses which have been heavily impacted by the construction of the CRL, but ultimately this is one last push that we need to make the most of, to ensure that there isn't ongoing disruption for years to come after the CRL is opening. I think Aucklanders won't tolerate that, and once the City Rail link is open, we need to get those patronage numbers up well above what they were pre-CRL construction starting pre-COVID. We need to get those numbers well up, and that's going to be the focus.
Generally speaking, who owns the school bus fleet?
I'll ask Stacey to talk to that.
Great question. The bus operators own the fleet. Yeah, they contract their services to us. Yeah.
And so you've come up with deals already to
Absolutely, they're well used to doing rail replacement services, and they're all programmed into our system so that they appear in the journey planner so people know what to expect and when, and that will be consistent throughout the program. A lot, yeah, it is a lot. So through the standard holiday period, it will be like a weekend schedule. In terms of what we have with trains, it'll mirror that. As we ramp up through January, that's when it does get challenging, and we'll be doubling up, tripling up. We'll be doing express services where it makes sense to do so based on the wider network demand. So we'll be looking at that and working with our operational control so we know what's happening on the wider network so that we're prioritising through there.
All right, yes. 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 Yep.
What consultation, if any, have you had with businesses about these upcoming changes, and will there be any compensation for those businesses?
Well, ultimately, in terms of the plan and the program, we're announcing it here today. There was a planned closure for 2 to 3 weeks. It's been extended, so it's an extended closure. But what I would say though is that we're focusing and making sure that this is a targeted set of dates, which is very clear, rather than the blocks. We've had in the past, for example, the Eastern Line was closed for an entire 9-month period. So we're focusing it, we're targeting it, we're requiring around-the-clock work to be done so that it can be as efficient as possible. But look, I don't discount the fact that it will have an impact, but the reality is if we don't get this work done now, when the City Rail Link is opened, we're going to have ongoing disruption, and I don't think that's going to be very good for businesses and commuters in Auckland going forward. And I think they won't, and then that's the issue that we need to resolve. We need to have this done now, get it done once, get it done right. So when CRL opens, we can maximise the benefits for reducing congestion, increasing patronage on public transport, getting more people into the CBD to support those businesses, and help Auckland transform with the significant investment that's been made.
Can I just clarify what the total cost of the rail network rebuild is?
Peter, do you want to talk to that? Andre? Yeah, I think it's about that. It's in terms of this is an extra $200 million. So there's obviously been several $100 million allocated previously. This is another $200 million on top of that previous investment to complete it. Yeah, we'll get that clarified for you. Yep.
Minister, just to ask that question, the total investment capital. Can you just jump?
Yeah, you don't have to come and jump.
The total investment that has been put into the Auckland Metro is $5.5 billion for the CRL project and another $2 billion of capital program to increase resilience and capacity. And as the Minister alluded to, the final $200+ million is being implemented to deliver CRL Day 1.
Great. Very good.
Well, Minister, while I have you, could I ask some questions on the CAA?
Oh, absolutely.
So the CAA is obviously undergoing the restructure,
Yep.
and some of the aviation industry is concerned it's being done in secret. Do you think the CAA should be more open about the planned changes and the way it operates?
Oh, what I understand is they're consulting with their staff around some changes. Like all agencies, we're asking them to focus and prioritise on frontline service delivery rather than ballooning back offices. And so they're looking at how they can prioritise resource from the back office to frontline services, and they're consulting with staff over that. That's our expectation we've made for all public service agencies. And my focus with the CAA is that they're working closely with the sector, improving their performance. The statement of performance expectation that I released earlier this year is very much focused on outcomes, getting those wait times down at our aviation security, getting those wait times down for CAA approvals is our top priority, and the new board that I've put in place there is laser focused on addressing those concerns.
And are we seeing a Crown agency change from a safety regulator to an enforcement agency?
They've got multiple focuses. Obviously, safety is critically important to them, but they're also about making sure we can grow our economy, and that's where they need to be working to enable businesses to thrive. And that means when a business asks and applies for the ability to get an approval, it needs to be approved within a timely fashion. That's where I've been focusing my attention, is making sure those approvals are done in a timely fashion so that the aviation sector is able to invest and grow in New Zealand. It's critically important.
Have you had any update on the independent review that's underway?
Look, I've met with the chair. Obviously, we've had a number of conversations. They've got work underway around improving the culture at the CAA. Cool. Any other questions? Great. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Really appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you, Minister. Can we get that? Can I get an email with